Okay. Take it away, sir.
I'm going to begin with a story, and the story goes back that when Adam saw daytime gradually diminishing, he wondered that he was going to die, which is what God had said would happen in the midst because of the sin. And so he kept 8 days of fasting and prayer and decided that maybe that would help. And then all of a sudden, they got shorter, the world continued. And he realized that's the way of the world. And so he celebrated after that 8 days of festivity beforehand and 8 days afterwards. And that, of course, is where you go into all sorts of holidays. And holidays tend to remind us this time of year that the world gets along. It goes its way, regardless of what we do. And therefore, it teaches us that we need to have peace in mind, that we need to remember that the world has its way and we have our way, that the world has a message, that God has a message, that there's an ideal out there, that sometimes the few overcome the many, the weak the strong, and the faithful the arrogant. And in the flame, which this time of year always brings because of the shortening days, we see our iridescence and our continued glowing, our worth and our longevity, our contributions and continuity. And we follow the path it illumines, and we discover the original light of the one who is light. So let's remember that convention is not always the best way to go, that power is not always to be wielded, that a little humility and faith that things will work out often leads to the results we want, or at least a reasonable compromise. May this be a productive meeting, and I wish all of you a happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy Hanukkah to you, Rabbi. Thank you very much. Take it. Harriet Haas. Harriet, you were just here. Now, you look very festive. No. This is the comparison. Come on up. That's the big issue. Oh my goodness, Santa Claus is here.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Santa Claus.
No coal this year.
Santa, I could use coal. Yeah, there's one for you. With the Fisher. Santa Claus. It's not that often that we have Santa Claus come. We must be good boys and girls.
Yes, you did pretty good this year.
Thank you, Santa.
Good evening, Santa.
Good evening.
Merry Christmas.
Re-elected supervisor.
Merry
Sean
Christmas,
Walker.
Santa. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Merry
Santa.
Christmas. Santa, are you going to sing songs to us? Oh, that's very nice. Can I open that right now? Thank you, Santa. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
That's pretty cool. Santa, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Santa.
Yeah, that's the problem with that one. No. No, this is the one with the bullet. You gotta get out of this one. All right, Harriet.
Okay.
Do you have any Santa Claus songs?
Yeah, I do. You know, there's an old joke at Abbott and Costello, you know, the remark that I just made before. He said, I'm going home, I forgot something. And Costello says, what did you forget? He says, I forgot to stay there. Well, I have a Hanukkah song and a Christmas song and a candy cane. Oh, my. So we'll start with the Hanukkah song. Okay, but Hanukkah is over, but we'll start with the Hanukkah song. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, dreidel, dreidel, I made it out of clay.
Thank you.
And Santa Claus is coming, and Santa Claus says, oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town, he just came.
That's their camera.
He's making a list, he's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town with little tin horns and little toy drums, Rudy toot toots and rummy tum tums. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming. Oh, Santa Claus is coming. Yes, Santa Claus is coming to town. He really is.
He's here.
He's here. And one of our van drivers, I think, is in the back. Okay, have a good meeting.
Harriet, thank you very much. Happy Hanukkah and
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Mark.
Christmas, Santa
Merry
Claus.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And be careful of that roof when you take off with the reindeer. Okay, John?
Okay. I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes of the December 1st, 2015 Town Board meeting. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Abstain.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Minutes are approved. Under reports, the tax receiver submitted their utility collection report for November, $714,479.72. Town clerk monthly report for November, $12,653.81. The police department submitted their monthly report for October. Under correspondence, there were 3 letters of opposition to the proposed 7-Eleven store at Vinland Commons Shopping Plaza in Accaborg. A letter from Andrew Gilbride, attorney representing Vinland Commons, requesting return of $2,500 filing fee for a change of zone application. That's it.
All right, any other town board reports?
No, I just want to thank everybody that came out to the bonfire, which I know we had a kind of a warm night, but you would never know it by the festivity that was there. We had a lot of people there, and I'd like to just thank everybody in the committee. I'll do it in the paper as far as naming everyone that was there, because I don't know if I do it now, I'll forget somebody. But it was a good turnout, and it was a fun time by all that was there. So.
Well, thank you.
Very good.
Good job.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. The holiday season is upon us now, and I'm not going to see you before the New Year's, so everybody have a Happy New Year.
I gotta get my Christmas shopping started.
Like that.
You and me both.
Anybody else? Alrighty then, let's get started. We have 2 public hearings. I'm sure they're going to be riveting. The first hearing is scheduled for 7:05. It is now 7:10. This is a consideration of a proposed local law amending Chapter 101 entitled Vehicles and Traffic in the Riverhead Town Code, Article 5, Parking, Stopping, Standing, Section 101:10, Parking Prohibited, Howell Avenue. This really comes out of, for some reason, in front of Town Hall, there's no parking on our side of the street, And I've observed that on Mondays, Tuesdays, and some Wednesdays when the court is full, they're still parking in the no parking zone because we don't have adequate parking and the street is wide enough on our side. So I don't know why it was no parking. We're gonna make it parking allowed except for the first 30 feet by the stop sign in the intersection. Does anybody wish to be heard on that public hearing?
Are they going to try and make the curb white instead of yellow so that people know they can park there?
Probably would be a good idea.
Okay.
They're parking there anyway. Yes, Angela.
Angela DeVito, South Jamesport. The only question I have about this change is that 30-foot that's being allowed from the intersection going north, going forward along there, is that sufficient to ensure traffic safety in the area? I mean, how is that 30-foot piece arrived at? Was that based on safety
probably pretty
considerations in that?
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know.
We've done it
It
others.
was, so then there would be background information on this for this public hearing that would have established that?
I think the 30-foot was sort of done in conjunction with another provision that's in the code, which is found in chapter 108, where we talk about clearance on intersections where there's a 30-foot triangle. So that was sort of the reasoning or rationale for it.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's enough room for trucks to make a turn onto Howell Avenue. Big,
You
large
say so,
trucks.
John, it must be true. Thank you.
That's right. That's what I love. Okay, anybody else wish to be heard on this? Not seeing anybody, we'll close the public comment portion and we'll leave it open to written comment to December 24th at 12 o'clock, Christmas Eve at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 p.m. So the second public hearing was scheduled for 7:10. This is a consideration of a local law to amend Chapter 86 entitled Rental Dwelling Units of the Riverhead Town Code. It is now 7:13. We'll open this public hearing. This public hearing increases our rental permit fees, and Jody, I think this finally takes out the hotel, so we don't require hotels and motels to, is that correct?
That's correct.
Pay for fees that this was never designed to collect from hotels and motels. Does anybody wish to be heard on this public hearing? Sal Mastropolo.
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton. Since you're opening up this this piece of code, I have a question on the dwelling unit. It says a dwelling unit is a single unit within a building or structure. Can structure be a detached garage?
Yes, if they have a permit for it, a rental permit for it.
A couple of years back, there was a big to-do about whether the garage had to be attached to the house.
No.
Remember,
It can be detached. It was never changed.
if it was never changed, then it's got to be attached.
No, you
No,
can,
there's
Think
two-family
back.
houses. There are houses, especially in the downtown area, that have two units on a parcel.
yes, or more.
Okay. I remember a big discussion about a house out in, I guess, Jamesport,
Oh, yes.
that was owned by a town employee, and we
That
were talking
predates
about a
us.
40-foot
Breezeway.
at Breezeway, right?
That
So that the
predates us.
garage was attached to the house. So we've changed the code since then?
This is for residential.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, residential.
Yeah, no, I don't know that we adopted, I know we did change the breezeway code so that couldn't happen again, and
Right.
my goodness, we butchered that breezeway code, and I think we have it right now.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Yes, that has been amended, so I do not believe, and I say I do not believe because I'm a lawyer and I have to qualify it, but I do not believe that you'd be able to attach a 40-foot breezeway to a garage to allow a rental dwelling. That was a different circumstance.
Okay, so the answer is, it could be a detached garage with an apartment.
That's correct.
With an apartment, as long as the
Pre-existing.
main house is owner occupied.
Yeah, okay.
Or
Thank
if
you.
it's pre-existing non-conforming.
Right.
Thank you, Sal. Angela.
That is correct.
DeVito.
DeVito again from South,
Jamesport.
still from South Jamesport.
Jamesport.
Okay, the first time I read this, I had a bit of puzzlement about it, and the second time again. As I understand it, this would accomplish two things. One is to create a revenue stream by taxing various dwellings, individuals, with this and making them pay fees for this. It increases the
Revenue, yes.
revenue stream for the town. And the second one is that it was stated during the original presentation of this that the intent of the original legislation was never to tax commercial hotels. They were never supposed to be included. So my first question is that has that intent ever been really established? What is the research on that?
It's our intent of this board not to do it.
Not to do it, but the
So
thing, so
we're
you're still,
focusing on our intent
your
of this
intent
board
is,
not
that's
to do it.
fine. I'm just saying, but this is, that particular thing. And what is the cost analysis? I mean, what is the size of the revenue stream you're anticipating from enacting this piece of legislation?
Well, the revenue, actually, this is actually paying for the costs of what it actually does to implement the rental and apartment program.
And how much is that?
About it's gonna increase the fee about $80,000 a year.
So that's
Yeah.
and that will pay for the implementation. By implementation, you mean what?
That'll pay for the code enforcement officer, that'll pay for the application, the taking in of the application, it'll take care of the building department review of it, the town attorney's office review of it, the computer system that will manage it.
So there is a breakdown then of all of this. There has been a
Yes.
cost analysis.
Yes.
Can that be made available to the public?
Absolutely.
Okay, because a code enforcement officer is going to be dedicated just to this,
We've
or as a
always
portion
had it.
of their salary?
We have one rental
Personal.
inspector that does this almost full-time.
Yep.
And the other sort of questionable aspect is, why make it biennial, every other year? Because you really haven't raised the fees, if you look at it. You've lowered them. It used to be biannual, 150, which would have made it 300 a year. Now it's biennial, 300. Why just not make it annual, 150?
Bob, you want to answer
Well,
that?
it was always a 2-year cycle.
It just, it was,
I think it was just a question of clarifying that it's every 2 years. So I'm
Well, the
not
thing is
sure.
that your law read biannual, that's what gets crossed out, that's
Yeah,
what's
right.
being dropped.
I understand that, but
And
it
you're
was-
introducing biennial.
But it was every other year that, so if I.
Well,
if I
that's
took
just
the-
bad housekeeping on the part of the town in
That's-
terms of its collecting
what it
stuff.
was.
That's
Right.
all it is. But why
But
do
that
it
was-
biennially? I mean, why not do an
Always
annual fee?
It always was a 2-year fee. Plain and simple, we're keeping it a 2-year fee.
For what purpose? I mean, I don't understand the benefit. That's what I'm asking. What is the benefit to the town to doing a biennial collection versus an annual? What's the
Why-
good and what's the good and benefit to the town?
It's less processing, it's less time. I mean, if we're taking in applications once a year rather than once every 2 years, then it's more processing time, it's more computer time, it's more town attorney time, it's more building department time, it's more inspector time, it's
And
more
it
everything.
helps the
So-
residents.
So you're
If you
talking
do it
about
for-
then,
Right.
so the cost then for a biennial fee on every 2 years is $80,000. That's what the cost analysis will show. It's for every 2 years, the cost is $80,000, not $80,000 per
Oh, no,
year
it's more
No,
than
it's-
for maintaining this
$80,000.
program.
It's 80,000 that we're expecting in revenue for 2016 and 125,000 that we're expecting in 2017.
And you just stated that those costs, the costs of running this program will be met by this tax on property owners here in the town of Riverhead.
It's
You
not
just
a
said
tax,
that.
it's a fee to
It's a
implement
fee,
the
it's a
program
tax.
that's being
Well, no, it's not.
subsidized
Fee
by
is
the
a
taxpayers.
tax. It's a form of taxation. Come on.
It's
I
a
don't pay
fee.
It is.
I'm
It's
not
in addition to what they pay. Come on.
Okay.
You know,
We
we
got
went,
it.
we went to a revolution in this country over, a fee on teas.
No, I
All right.
disagree with you,
I don't
Angela.
think this
It's-
is
You
gonna
can
cause a
disagree with me.
revolution.
I'm presenting my testimony. This is my testimony on this.
Absolutely. Go
And the
ahead.
other thing
You
is,
asked a
why
question.
make an exemption for the months of May, June, July, August, and September for people who are doing rental then? That is the height of the rental season. And you've cut it in by a third, and that period of time is just a smidge less than half of the year.
Angela,
Okay,
what
So
provision are you
section D?
reading?
It's Section D.
That's for the summer rentals.
That's for the summer. Why make a difference there in the sense that they are maximizing the amount of money? If the purpose of this is to create a revenue stream to take care of your program, your people are going to be the busiest during this period of time doing this. I mean, why make it appears? And again, you did it by a third. You did it by a third, okay? Whereas essentially, this is almost 50% of a whole year.
The
Those months there.
The taxpayers of the town were subsidizing people that were coming to town, buying houses and renting out their houses with code enforcement, with taking in application fees, with doing inspections, with doing outside inspections, with doing garbage inspections when the garbage is left out when it's not supposed to be left out, with grass growing too high. So the average homeowner in the town does not require all of those services. So there are additional services that are required by somebody renting out their house to somebody else. and the taxpayers of this town have been subsidizing that cost for too many years.
I have
We're
no
raising the
argument with
fees
you on
to
that.
cover the costs.
I have no argument with that. I'm just saying, why differentiate between someone who only rents in the month of May as opposed to someone who rents in the month of December has to pay an annual fee, a biannual fee?
Because they're
Well,
only
that's a-
renting.
If I
That's
offer
a
my
great
place in
comment, Angela.
December?
It is.
That's a great comment.
It is.
We'll take it
I
under
mean,
advisement.
I think
have to
it's
agree with
it's
you.
unfair to those people who may wish to be winter rentals. They come out, they're summer people who come out, spend the summer here, and then they leave and they rent their homes for the winter, okay? They're forced to pay the full boat, but someone who is maximizing their, I mean, if you look at the rental fees for cottages and homes here in the summer, they're immense. The winter rates are usually a third of what you see for the summer fees there. So if you're going to collect a fee, collect it across the board equally from everyone. Make no exemptions. You rent a dwelling, you pay this fee every 2 years, whatever it is you want to set it at.
Well, we could go
Thank
back
you.
to public hearing on that issue too. Thank you. Right. Steve Romano, Riverhead.
My favorite topic, Steve Romano, Riverhead. Was there any thought, being that the fee covers the cost, of reducing your cost by following the town of Islip rental procedure, where, by and large, as you guys are aware, they were sued by a landlord, and their process that we use was found unconstitutional. So what they did in lieu of that, if you're renting a house, you file a notarized document with the town that your home is up to all the specifications and code requirements.
We allow that. We allow that in the code currently. There's a provision where we can receive a certification from a design professional, an engineer, or an architect that says that the home or the rental unit is in compliance with the state code, county code, and town code.
But Bob, that's different in the town of Islip. They don't require an engineer's report. They require the landlord to notarize and document
Got
to
it.
the town.
We have
Understood.
it, we're comfortable
Understood.
with what we have, we're keeping what we have. That's not even part of this.
Why would you feel uncomfortable with a landlord telling you?
We're comfortable with what we have. It's public safety.
And Islip has a problem with that, from what I'm being told.
Yeah,
And
that I don't know.
owners are signing saying, yes, my house meets code, and they don't, and then there's a fire in the house, or there's an overcrowded house, or because the landlord is saying, yes, I meet the code. So if you're gonna rent your house out, you have to have quality of life for your surrounding neighbors. And renting out your house is okay, it's great. You know what, some people make a living doing it, that's fine. But the house needs to be maintained in order to maintain quality of life for the neighbors around it.
Was there any thought given, for instance, if a house is a year or two old, just recently got a CO, why does that house have to be inspected? I could see something 15, 20, 30 years old. Could the house be that dilapidated in a
Because
year or two?
they make changes, they add bedrooms, our rental code says that they have to establish parking on the premises, not in the street, it has to be on-site parking. So, and we have to have owner's information as to where we can reach the owner if there is a problem in the house, or if there is a party house, or there is something going on. So that if we need to bring an action against an owner because they're not abiding by our rental laws, then we can take them to Supreme Court, and we know who they are and where they live.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm suggesting maybe thinking about that is I don't know if anybody really knows the percentage of owners that rent that are actually applying to the town. My guess, and again, it's a guess, it's a small amount. And my experience in my own community, I know if I wasn't involved with it, you'd probably have zero compliance. I'm just saying, is there any way to make this a little bit easier? Maybe you would get more people and you could bring the cost down. But that's just my comment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? All right, not seeing anybody, I'll close the public comment portion, leave it open for written comment till Christmas Eve, December 24th, in 12 o'clock in the town clerk's office. Now we open to public comments on resolutions. Does anybody wish to be heard on resolutions?
Sal.
Sal, how you doing?
Good. Resolution 835. The from appropriated fund balance. Is that a bid account? Or is that a town
That
account?
is the, that's a trust and agency account, I think. Is Bill Rothar back there somewhere?
Yeah, we actually,
That's the trust and agency one?
it was a trust and agency account, and then we identified that it was a bid overpayment to a repayment of a loan about 10 years or 15 years ago.
So is the answer, it's a bid
It's
account?
it's a
Yes.
trust and agency account, but it's going into a bid account.
That's right.
I know it's going into a bid account. I want to know where it's coming from.
Trust
Is it
and
coming from
agency
the
account.
general fund, or is it coming from
Trust and agency
bid
account.
funds?
No, no, I believe it's a
Bid funds.
trust and agency
It's
account.
a trust and agency account that we identified was paid by the bid.
Okay, so it's bid money.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not town money.
It's not town money.
Thank you. Resolution 839. Don't you think we should copy the homeowner on this resolution? Seeing as how you're,
Why not? I agree. Let's copy them. Bob, can we add a provision in that we'll copy the homeowner? Thank you for pointing that out.
you're welcome. 841.
Hold on, hold on. $841, yes,
Is that a new position, or are we filling a vacancy?
filling a vacancy.
Okay. You need to add a be it further resolved, contingent on passing a drug test, so we're consistent with the next resolution.
She's already working on the town.
Huh?
She works
already
for
an
the
employee
town
of the town.
already.
Okay,
She's an
thank
employee
you.
of the town.
But it probably wouldn't hurt to drug test her anyway.
846, in the whereas, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, on the fifth line down, March 18th is a wrong date. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I'll swear it's March 16th.
March, what'd you say, March?
I think it should be March 16th, not March
Oh.
18th, because March 1st is a Tuesday, March 15th is a
I
Tuesday,
have March 5th.
and you're moving it to a Wednesday, which makes it March 16th,
Yeah, on the schedule it says March 15th,
You're right.
but on here. it
right?
has-
Wow. It's March
And-
15th on the schedule.
We have 15.
Huh?
That calendar?
Yeah, 16th is a Wednesday.
Yeah,
I don't know
and you
why I'm
need to
looking at that
change,
calendar. I got one right there. Hold on, stand by. So March 15th is definitely a Sunday, and,
no, March 15th is a,
March 15th is a Tuesday.
it's a Tuesday, so March 16th is a Wednesday,
yep, that's the wrong.
and you need to change this.
So March 15th.
16th.
What Wednesday?
March 15th.
15th.
That's what it says, March.
It says March 15th on the printed out schedule.
On this one, but
Not
on
the
this
other
one
one.
it doesn't.
We want it on March 15th.
No, you want it on March 16th, a Wednesday.
We want it on the
Right.
Wednesday.
Is March.
Probably.
You know how many people look at this ridiculous calendar and now we're screwing around with it?
So the front page you're saying needs to be changed to March 16th, and then the
If
second page.
you're gonna have it on a Wednesday, it's March 16th.
Hey, but
Okay.
why are we having it, let's go back to this. Why are we having it on a Wednesday?
We usually only have it on Wednesday if the holiday falls on a Monday.
I know, I don't know why you're having it either, I'm just going by,
And the
there's an
assessment,
inconsistency.
I think the March is supposed to say May.
Oh, okay,
That's what it-
that makes it even better.
That's what it is.
okay,
Well, then-
It would be May 18th.
table this
You also-
resolution, we will do it the last, we're tabling the resolution.
Just change it, just change that March to May.
No,
That makes it right.
no, it doesn't.
Okay, let's
It makes
table
it
the
right, but we
resolution,
have to-
we have the
have a March
31st
anyway.
of December, we can send
Yeah.
it for. I
Oh,
don't
you mean on a
want,
Wednesday, so what Wednesday?
guys, table the resolution, we'll fix it on the 31st.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just one typo. March instead of May.
Don't forget this,
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
you gotta change it on here too.
That's what I compared it to.
Okay.
Well, it says May 18th, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
All right.
Now,
Diane?
what you're talking about March, he's talking about May.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't want,
Two
All right,
months
so
apart.
March
The
15th is
only thing
okay.
that's wrong is 846 says March,
It should
and it
say
should
May.
say May.
all right,
Okay.
what I'd like to do is the town board, Diane, can you step outside and maybe talk to Jill
Yeah. I
and
can
just
agree.
fix it before we vote on it?
Yes, absolutely.
It's one word.
Okay.
It's one word.
God, just, let's fix it, if we're not gonna table it, let's fix it, we're not doing it, let them do
No,
it.
let them do it.
Okay, what else you got? Sal?
856. Why are we doing this now for the year 2017? Why don't we take this up in fourth quarter of 2016?
Good question.
Well, we could.
I agree with you.
Good question.
Why are we taking it
I
up
mean,
at all?
I think we should, I agree with that, particularly since We have some other issues that should be discussed,
We'll
like the
see how
tax
this-
cap, which cost every taxpayer a rebate check this year,
So I mean,
next
when
year.
they table it, is that's gonna
We
I
can
think the
table it.
language
Go
is
for a
it.
vote.
We can table
You
it.
wanna table it?
It
Okay.
needs to go for a vote.
Well, I don't think the
850
language
I
is clear.
think we just
I
go
table.
for a vote right now. What else you got, Sal?
857,
857.
the fourth whereas should be January 22nd, 2017, not 2016.
You're right.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on resolutions? Bob, Diane does that little list there that says who's speaking. Can you just grab that for me so I can tell who's speaking?
Angela DeVito, South
Oh,
Jamesport.
stand by. I'm going to do the clerk work here
Okay.
for a second. Yeah, that pad. Go ahead.
Resolution 836. Can you explain what a temporary call-in clerk does for the building department?
Oh, well, that's to, we're going to be we're consolidating our building and planning department. In order to do that, we have to scan, we've consolidated them on paper, but not physically. And in order to complete the consolidation and bring them over to the building across the street, we need somebody to help us scan all the documents that are in the files upstairs, so we have them on the computers, and we're gonna move everything downstairs. We good, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, you can tell us when we get to it.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
So they're called in as needed for
Correct.
the scanning?
Correct.
And how long is this temporary period going to?
Larry gave them to January 1st to get the move done. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it's good
So
to
this
have
goes
goals.
from today, the 15th to the
Yeah,
to the
it's-
31st then, is the temporary appointment?
Yeah,
Usually
yeah.
there's a time period for temporary appointments, even if they are a call-in, they don't come in all of the time, so it's
I
just
think
the
it's only a
fact.
few weeks, I believe. It's 4. Yeah, I think it's 4
I think it would be a good idea to put a time limit in there, and
Well,
you
that's
could
why it's
always
call-in.
extend it. You could always extend. No, a call-in is, you call me in, I don't come 5 days a week, which is my understanding of what you just gave me. I'm not working 5 days a week for you. You're calling me on an as-needs basis.
Okay, next comment.
Okay.
What else you got?
My next comment is, for many years, we have divided on 846, the town meetings for 2016. We've divided our meetings between 2 in the afternoon and 7 p.m. And in many instances, 2 in the afternoon makes for working people here in the town exceedingly difficult to participate in those specifics of that town meeting at that time. And I don't know about the difference between attendance, and it varies based on the topics, I would assume, between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., but I would make a plea for the fact that perhaps do a third of those meetings at 2 o'clock and the rest at 7 o'clock at night, which would maximize the opportunity for working class people to attend town hall meetings.
I think you have it. I think we have the right balance, and the reason that I say that is because a lot of the people that come to meetings at 2 o'clock work during the day and are business owners and operators in town, and it makes it more convenient to them. And so what
They are not working class.
What I normally do.
I'm talking about people who cannot leave work
Got it.
to come
What
to a
we-
meeting, Sean.
What we normally do, Angela, if there's something controversial, we will always try to put it in an evening meeting. But I think this strikes the
I
right
don't know about
balance.
that. I mean, I've been
Thanks.
watching this for a long time, and there's many things that need further discussion or could be considered controversial that come up at the 2 o'clock meetings. And I just think that, it's a time where even for those people, the business people, who can afford to, and they make their decisions about when they want to be at work, and they make their own schedules, that's fine. They can be here at 7 o'clock at night. It
Also-
doesn't really inconvenience them. We're not running banking. We're not doing banking
I
out of here.
think we made the right decision here, and I think Supervisor Cardinale, who actually implemented this back in his
2008.
tenure, made an
And I, at that time, I said to him that I shared with him the fact that I thought it was a bad decision then, and I think it's a bad decision
it's a
now.
good decision,
I think it disenfranchises people in the town disproportionately.
I think the reason it was done, I think originally when Phil did it was to try to capture some of the senior community that didn't like to come out
Correct,
at night.
yeah.
But I don't think that really worked out too well.
I have been able to in the past to come to 2 o'clock meetings. You know, so that was just that. And then on the resolution 856, it starts out with, whereas the town wishes to establish equality in salaries with non-union and union personnel. Who are the non-union personnel in the town? Is everyone except for elected officials a member of a union here in Riverhead?
No, town attorneys, department heads are not members of the union.
So then how does this resolution achieve your wish to establish equality in union, non-union salaries?
I think you have to wait to see whether there is the wish to pass the resolution.
Well, I would like to raise these issues now and get, because it has been crafted and put out there for consideration. And it did come up, I believe it came up at the work session also. That's why it's in the package here for this evening.
Came up during resolution review.
Okay, resolution review there. And one of the things is that with going to giving elected officials an annual cost of increase in their salary for the consumer price index, not less than that. Have you ever considered doing what happens with the steps for civil service jobs, doing the same thing for elected town officials here, which would allow you the ability to, for example, all of you seated there here tonight have been in service to the town for any number of years, anywhere from 4 years to 10 years, or perhaps more. In January, you're going to be joined by an individual who has not been in town service on the town board previously, who will enter in at a salary level equivalent to all of those who have spent their time 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. So rather than looking at an annual, because the annual CPI increase really is a step, in essence, it translates into a step process, create an entry-level salary for individuals, and it goes up. That whole thing shifts the same as you negotiating contracts, a shift of salary schedules. The same thing would happen with elected officials. If you want equality, I think that gives equality for you between yourselves, and not necessarily, I don't think it establishes all equality for between all employees here in town, but it's something to consider because there is some inherent unfairness in a new individual just stepping in and assuming a salary that someone who has been seated here and has been reelected on several occasions has earned over that
Angela, I
over that
tried to
time.
implement that 6 years ago, and it couldn't be implemented, because I feel the way you are, that there should be step increases for the amount of years that you've given to the community, all elected officials. That's the tax receiver, the clerk, the receiver of taxes. They should not come in for the position that you're going out on. And we did that with the town clerk. Well, a new town clerk, we lowered that salary at that time, so she didn't get the salary that the old town clerk did. But I agree with you 100% on that. That's the way it should be implemented.
And I also will just close by saying I do agree with Sal Mastropolo on the fact that this seems to be exceedingly premature for the year 2017. It's the most premature piece of legislation we've ever seen in town government.
I wouldn't go that far, but I
wouldn't say-
wouldn't disagree with you.
It's right in there. That it's right up there. And I think that until we are on sounder financial ground, I think that I do believe the salary level as it exists now is fair for an established part-time job.
Thank you.
And that's you codified your jobs as part-time. It's a part-time position, because if you look at it as full-time, it's about $97,000 a year. Okay, that I think that the salary at this level is fair for a part-time job for people serving on town council. Thank you. And by the way,
Thank you.
Merry
Online,
Christmas and Happy
online.
New Year.
People are waiting online.
They're waiting online. Next. You gotta get online. Go ahead, he's letting you up. Go ahead, Warren. All right. Oh, Warren, they were gonna let you cut the line. They were gonna let you cut the line.
Terry's like, no, I wasn't.
Well, somebody got there and talk.
Terry, you weren't gonna let Warren McKnight cut the line?
No.
No.
Well, Terry.
actually have two questions now. Resolution 836, appointing the call-in clerk to the building department. So, my understanding as union president in a discussion with the supervisor's office today was that that person's sole job was gonna be unloading file cabinets into boxes, waiting for B&G to come and move them to the basement and then put the files back in.
That could be true.
So scanning and then becoming, doing the work of a union employee.
That could be true.
So, well, it is either true or it's not true, right?
Could be true.
Can we verify what that person's
Larry,
gonna be doing?
Larry, are they just loading boxes and bringing stuff downstairs, or are they scanning?
I believe that they're going to be loading boxes and bringing them and then loading them back into the,
No scanning.
as far,
That could be true, Terry.
could be true.
Could be
Okay.
true.
So
Good.
that's
Next
agreed, that's
question.
waiting to happen. So 856. So a little bit in regards to the raise. I guess maybe the newspaper article, for those that may or may not be aware, but it's really not $48,000, very similar to what Angela had discussed. So a couple questions, very vague, that I have. Do current elected officials that are in retirement are getting 100% of family coverage and 100% for their spouse, correct?
No.
No.
No?
When you retire, it's the same as a union. It's 50% family and 100% for the employee.
So you get 100% coverage for yourself, and you
And
pay 50% for your
correct.
spouse.
Same, it's the same family.
So regardless,
same
it's
plan.
probably
But
somewhere in and around the average of about
Not all of
20,000.
us, some of us are retired, and we get it already for being retired town employees.
Right.
So,
Do any of you get a stipend for not taking the health insurance? I believe a resolution passed a couple of years ago, so if you don't take health insurance, you get a bonus?
Terry, can we concentrate on the resolutions?
Yeah, make
Well,
us.
yeah, that's where I'm going with
we
this.
don't
I'm
answer
saying
questions.
it's not really, so in addition to that, because you don't want to answer it, there's also between a $3,000 and $5,000 stipend and a fringe benefit that the town board gets as well, that I believe was enacted somewhere in 1974 or something like that along those lines.
That's accurate.
Does that resolution, so in 1974,
I don't think it
town,
was-
they gave you $5,000 fringe benefit? Like,
No,
how did
we
that
don't
go?
get
What was it in
5,000.
74?
No, we got
I
5,000.
don't think it was enacted in '74. I think it was in the '80s. I think it was in
How
the
much
'80s.
was it?
Terry, I don't know what it was back then.
I think.
So basically, your January 1st resolution salary is in the 50s of thousands of dollars, because that is not included in your salary?
No, we don't get, no, that is, it's a step. The supervisor gets more than the council people. The
Well,
council
how
people
much-
get. and then
how
the-
much more?
You know, you would have to get the old resolution to determine it. I don't know.
So the statement in the newspaper saying that you're
It
part-time
was
and you
for
only
an-
get
it was
$48,000
for an
is
insurance
not really
policy.
accurate, correct?
It was for an insurance policy. That's what it
Insurance
was
for
for.
what? $5,000 life insurance policy?
Sorry.
You got me. I don't know. You have to look at.
So I guess my stand is that your salary for part-time is much more than $48,000.
That's
You
correct.
didn't include
That's
a
correct.
$5,000
With
or
the- with
6
that
or
stipend?
7
That's
It-
correct.
it- no,
$1,000, so your
52
salary's
maybe.
more in
You know,
the $55,000
no,
range.
55,
No.
52.
52, oh, so you do know.
I'm gonna say
that.
3,
Okay,
51.
gotcha.
You said 51.
That's really interesting.
We
Thank
don't
you,
know
you
what it
answered
is.
my question.
We
Have
don't
a
know
good
what
day.
the stipend
Thank
is. You have to ask the accounting department.
Look, you should be on Perry Basin.
Yes,
The
I don't know what
stipend-
the stipend is.
The stipend is based on the CPI also.
Lori Downs, Riverhead.
Hello, Lori Downs, Riverhead.
How are you?
Pleasure
Sean,
for
how are
you
you?
to come here and not just go to the high school.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Did you have your hair cut?
Yes.
Looks nice. Looks nice.
I'm thinking better. I got less on
Okay.
it. I'm talking about, of course, Resolution 856. I was a little appalled when I first read in the paper what Mr. Dunleavy had asked for the simple fact that we have employees here that have been waiting for their contract to be settled, and these are the people that work for the town that make you people look good, make all their department heads look good, make you look good. They're doing the work on the roads, they're taking care of the grounds. They haven't gotten their contracts. They're sitting stifled. Mr. Dunleavy talks about how things have gone up in price. Things have gone up in price for everybody. The taxpayers have all lost the stipend from because of the piercing of the tax cap. We've lost that. the retirees and those of us that are on Social Security are not getting an increase of anything this year, but yet our town taxes went up.
That's what it, if you were gonna do this, that's what it should be tied to, is the social security increase. If you were gonna do it. I'm not supporting it either way, but that's what it should be, so that if the seniors get a raise in social security, then the town board would receive a commensurate adjustment based on the inflationary factors used in social
I mean,
security.
I know I'm not
But
alone.
I'm still not supporting it.
I'm a struggling resident. I would actually be considered poor. After my husband worked for the town for 32 years, and we know what retirement is like, and we know he knew what he was going into when he got into it, but he loves this town and he worked for it for 32 years. However, it didn't make us rich, and retirement didn't make us rich, and it shouldn't make you rich either. I mean, you're here for a certain thing. You ran for this position knowing what the salary was, and you took it the way it was. And, you know, I feel that you take care of the employees, you take care of your residents, then you take care of you. Thank you.
Can I just answer one thing? The town employees have been getting raises for the last 6 years. Their salaries have gone up for the last 6 years. I'm not looking after us. I may not run in 2 years. This is not gonna start until next year. But I'm looking for somebody who's young and who wants to make this betterment for Riverhead to come here. He has to have a salary that will entice him to come up to this town board.
Well, something
If you look
enticed you
if
at the
look
salary
what
that it was.
this consists of town board, next year you're gonna have 3 retired people up here.
Okay,
I
there's
wanna see some
enticement.
young people up here.
Oh, you
that-
don't want
that-
old people running for office? You
Well,
only want
I
young
wanna see
people
some
running
young
for-
people have new ideas. They have new ideas, right? And I ran, yes, the salaries were low, right?
But they
But-
weren't
but,
low
you
compared
know,
to the time that they were. And you
And
guys are
like
making
I say,
a
I'm
really
not
good
fighting for
salary.
myself. I'm fighting for.
Compared to what some of us retired people are bringing in, believe me, you're making a really good
Does
salary.
your husband get a stipend every year from the state of New York? My wife gets a stipend, and she's retired from the state of New York every year.
Well, he's retired from the town of Riverhead.
Well, yeah, but it's still
state retirement.
it's still a state retirement
It's not
system.
much.
I bet you he does if you look into it. He gets a stipend every year.
But that
for
doesn't
being
mean that
retired
we're
state
rich.
employee.
That doesn't mean that, so I get a stipend, so what? What
Well,
does
you
that have
just
to
said-
do?
But all this is a stipend. This year was .76. That's all it was. That's all it's asking for.
You wanna
I
talk
have,
about
we have
stipends?
assessors that haven't got a.
Elected officials
wait.
should not be getting stipends.
I think I'm talking. We have assessors.
Excuse me, I'm up here talking.
Well, I was
I had
answering,
the floor
I was answering
first.
your question when you finished up. We have assessors that haven't got a raise in 6 years. We have town clerk who hasn't got a raise in 6 years.
Exactly. So why do you deserve one?
This all elected officials, all. You're not reading it correctly. It's all elected officials.
All elected officials? Well, I'd like to see all our employees, union employees, get what they deserve first before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Downs. Hat off.
Is that it?
Matt Hadoff. Been a while since I've been up here.
I know, we've missed you.
Yeah,
Really?
come back, yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe not. 843 and 856. Just go ahead and pass them. You're going to do it anyway. If you table it tonight, and one of my questions was, if it does get tabled and pulled from the floor, when is the time to talk about that resolution? Is it tonight, or is it when it gets pulled off the floor?
Well, it gets pulled off the floor.
Well, now, the last time that was done, I actually got up here to speak about a resolution, and I was told that now it's being tabled for a later date. I said, okay, fine. I came back at the later date. It was pulled off the floor at the end of the resolutions, and there was no chance for public comment on it. So,
Well, we might
and
get,
I had brought it up at the end of the meeting, when there was open public comment for everything in general, And I was told that the time to speak about that resolution would have been today, before it was tabled. So whether you table it, you vote it down, or whatever, honestly, pass it. The last time I got up here and spoke about a salary increase for an elected official was probably in the second term of the Cardinal administration. So I'm going to say you're long overdue. Go ahead and vote yourselves. Vote elected officials an increase. Definitely 843. 2% and 2% with no retro really doesn't amount to much, even on a large salary. And
You want to know what the
just remember what you're doing tonight is going to affect all the families that work for this town. And it's going to affect me, it's going to affect everybody else out here. So when you do this, just keep in mind, somewhere along the lines, you should do the right thing for everybody else. And please, don't cry poverty, because then I'll have to come back.
So you want to know what the poison pill here is? Every year I do the budget. I set the salaries for the elected officials in the budget. There's a resolution that gets put forth for the supervisor, the town board, and the highway superintendent, mandatory by resolution. Comes out of my budget. So if I set the budget, then we can pass this resolution all we want. If I set the budget where I'm telling you I'm going to set the budget at my salary and their salary, I'm not putting them up, and the board passes that, if the board does nothing on the budget, they can't fund it, and if they pass the resolution, which inevitably they do pass, the salaries will be set right where they are. So this is not going to go anywhere.
I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, all right, so they pass it, you do whatever it is you do with your budget, and then there's all kinds of meetings, and before they vote on the budget, they amend it. They, meaning the board, amends it. Just go ahead and pass it. Do yourselves a favor and agree on one thing. You're entitled to it. It's been a long time. Pass it. But just remember the other 180 CSCA workers and the PBA and the SOA and the chief and the captain and all of them. They're all entitled to something too, without having to beg for it. And as far as piercing the tax cap, you should have done it a long time ago. We would be a lot better off today if you'd have done it years ago.
You're right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Warren McKnight.
Lauren.
Warren McKnight, Riverhead. 5 town board members are policymakers, as opposed to the town clerk and the assessors, etc. George Gabrielson has realized that the position he has, like all you have, it's a temporary position. It's only meant to be, for maybe 2 terms or move on. That's it. This is, Harry Truman, when he was finished with president, he didn't even get a pension. He had to live with his mother-in-law.
Lord.
This is, huh?
Oh Lord, nothing.
Yes.
Another thought in my mind.
Yeah, but this is. You have to realize this. Sean, I admire you. You have a practice. Jody, you have a practice too. Gentlemen, and the 2 of you earned your pension. But that's it. It's not the same as when you were policemen. The other 3 people realize that they have an obligation as citizens or a step above who want to do public service. So I ask you to take that into context when you get this. There's a lot of people in this town that are hurting. I meet a lot of these King Cullen people who are out of town now. They got to take buses to get places. We all have to bite the bullet. So if you really believe in what you say and do on the town board, it is not a civil service job. It's a job that you give to the people for a short time, whether it's 12 years or less.
You're right.
So I ask you to to think of all the wonderful things each one of you have done in the community and say, well, it's time. And yes, it's time to, hard to get young people up here too. But even these young people, they don't deserve it's a part-time position. And I know somebody posts their hours there because it's a part-time position, and you see everybody, all of you. So, but please, this is, Grumman is not here, and this other company's not here, and the future of everybody, and so many people are on fixed incomes in this town, whether they're independently poor or on pensions, is to think like the forefathers did. A lot of them ended up in debt. So that's what I want you all think like that, but don't think like the unions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agree. Does anybody else wish to be heard? Mr. Fisher.
Greg Fisher, Calverton. Thank you in advance for tabling that resolution on raises. To go off on what Mr. McKnight said, the founding fathers actually didn't get pensions, didn't get salaries, and paid their own expenses. But I'm really here to talk about 847, the East Lawn building. The resolution does not match the facts. Some of those facts include that the agents for the town were given written offers up through the middle of the day today. None of that is reflected in here at all. There were several revisions to those offers based on instructions coming out of the town attorney's office. So there's nothing about that in the resolution at all. As well, there's a typographical error, the ever-perfect Sal did not find, which is the last offer from Mr. Petroselli was $180,000, not $150,000. That was in Resolution 806, I think it was, a couple of sessions ago. So this has now dropped his offer down to $150,000. My offer at the time in public hearing, not public hearing, but here in testimony was $200,000. I've provided that several times to the agents. They led me to believe through today that they would accept the $200,000. That was an acceptable offer. It was a high offer. I'm wondering what the justification is for taking the low offer, because that's not laid out here in this resolution anymore. It seemed to me in my negotiation with the agents today that giving this building, and I'm going to use the word giving precisely, to Mr. Petroselli was a foregone conclusion here. It didn't matter what I said and what I bid. So when the agents came back to me asking me where I stood on the asbestos issue, when they came back again asking me where I stood on the fire suppression issues, that was all dealing in bad faith. But none of that history is reflected in here at all. So I would ask that you table this as well and get back to your agents and find out what those negotiations consisted of. And as we are pecking away at the next tax cap, I don't understand why this town wants to throw away $50,000 more. Neither do I understand why they're so anxious to transfer this property for a private purpose when I've announced that I'm going to be using the property for a public purpose, a purpose that would help enrich the town and help economic development in the town. Mr. Petroselli has made no such claim, so I see he doesn't have the same stand as I do. SCORE does need an office in this town. We do consult with a lot of clients. We help a lot of people in business stay in business. We help people that aren't in business get in business. There's been much talk about helping the revenue side of the equation in this town to help the debt situation, to turn around the bond rating, and to not pierce future tax caps, but there's been not a lot of results since. But certainly thwarting SCORE in this effort doesn't necessarily help when we're able to do so much for the people and the businesses of this town. So I would ask you to table this resolution till members of the town board got the full story, because the resolution does not have the full story. Somewhere along the line, the story was thwarted. It does not reflect the record of what actually happened in the process of sale in this building. As you know, I have a notice of claim on this sale for this building dating back for some time now. Your attorney's been bugging me to drag me in for a 50-inch. I said, well, we might not have to go there. We might not have to go there. And so it's never been cleaned up. But certainly passing a resolution that doesn't fit the history is something to talk about in the 50H. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Next, anybody else wish to be heard? offers that came in. Really, the second bite?
If that gentleman is telling you anything that's accurate, you got to table that motion. I mean,
We're not gonna get into the back and forth on this.
well,
We're not gonna get
if
into
you
the
don't
back-
table it, somebody's going to have to
We're
explain.
not, we're not gonna get into the back and forth. It is not all that it appears.
Okay.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on the matter? All right, not seeing anybody. Let's take up the resolutions, Diane.
Okay. Resolution 834.
Map number 600-39-6-16, Chapter 54, budget adoption, so moved.
Second.
I really wish you put the address on this.
Yeah, I requested address on all these, but this
Yeah,
has
how do we
to be, the house.
Which is this?
We were taking
This is Laferno? Okay.
Yes, it
yeah, this has to be that, but I requested that all addresses be put on the resolution.
I second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 835.
Budget Improvement District, Business Improvement District, budget adjustment, so moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 836.
Appoints temporary call-in clerk to the building department. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
I think this is work that the building department employees could be doing, so I'm gonna be voting no.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 837.
Grants excavation importation permit as provided by Chapter 62, Excavations of Riverhead Town Code to Garston Realty LLC. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yeah, we're gonna get $15,000, so I shall vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 838.
Authorize submission of Dopplet Foundation grant, so moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
This is to support the Alternative Transportation Committee and completing the recreation trail at the Grumman facility. And it's a private grant, and it's a small amount, but it'll do some work for us to help maintain until we get the infrastructure in, so yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 839.
It awards the bid for 162 Founder Path Fading Hollow demolition and reconstruction project, so moved.
As amended. Seconded.
Moved and seconded as amended with copy to Jean Laferno, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, about time.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 840.
Authorize the town supervisor to execute a professional service agreement with Robert Hubbs. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Although he provides a valuable service, I think that the town really needs a full-time GPS person on staff. I think this is costing us more money in the long run. I'm gonna vote no.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
I'm going to support the resolution, but yes, we have to work towards filling this position. So, yes,
Dunleavy.
this is only till May.
Again,
It's only till April.
we have to get a list and get someone for this position. But I vote yes because we do need the maps for our engineering department. So we can't hold up the town work, because we're slow. Okay? I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 841.
Appoints a public safety dispatcher to the police department, so moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Although the positions are definitely needed and will cut back on overtime, I was not part of the process in determining whether or not these positions were posted, so I'm going to abstain.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes, these are civil service positions, and these people were on the civil service list and interviewed, went through due process with the Personnel Committee, which I sit on, so they were interviewed, and I vote yes.
Dunleavy.
I vote yes. We have two openings and,
Three, actually, only appointed.
yeah, well, three openings, but we're only appointing two, but I mean, we need them because the police are mandated with overtime, and I think that we're gonna cut down on our taxpayers, what they pay if we hire full-time dispatchers. I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 842.
appoints a public safety dispatcher to the police department. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Again, I wasn't part of the process, I missed some time, so I'm going to abstain.
Gabrielson.
I was part of the process with Jim Wooten on the Personnel Committee, and excellent choices, and I vote yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 843.
This sets the salary for the chief of police. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Although I have a lot of respect for the chief, I've told him that I couldn't support this resolution because I don't believe at this time we should be giving people raises. No.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Okay, we're just giving him the percentage for 14 and 15, and but he's not getting a raise. He's not getting any retroactive pay. So I vote yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 844.
Extends bid contract for propane. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 845.
Appoints a call-in personnel to the Riverhead Recreation Department. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
I'm gonna abstain, I don't know what these positions are for.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 846.
All right, what was the date and time, Diane?
It is May 18th, not March 18th. That's the only correction.
May.
May. It's correct on the schedule, but in the text it was
Okay.
wrong, but it is May.
Well, they had the first two letters right, to be fair.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Close enough for government.
Okay. Establishes time of regular meetings of the Riverhead Town Board. So moved.
And
And
seconded.
seconded as corrected.
Look, I seconded it.
As amended.
All right, so moved and
Moved
seconded.
and
Please
seconded
vote.
as
As amended.
amended. As amended.
Giglio.
Vote, please.
As amended, yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 847.
847, Town Board authorization for the Office of the Town Attorney to proceed with sale of building located at 542 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-129-3-35.2, known as the East Lawn Building, subject to permissive referendum. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
This is a supporting building to our historic district downtown, and I feel that it's very important that we act quickly to save the building. It needs a new roof, and it needs to be put on before the winter months. The person that we are in agreement to sell it to has agreed to put the roof on and to preserve the building, and I've seen his work, and I know that he's capable of doing it, so I will vote yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 848.
Approves Chapter 90 application of American Diabetes Association. It's Tour de Cure bicycle ride Saturday, June 18, 2016. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 849.
Approves the Chapter 90 application of Race Austin Incorporated, Jamesport Triathlon, July 9th and 10th, 2016. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 850.
Authorize the town clerk to publish and post a public notice of public hearing to consider a proposed local law for an amendment to Chapter 101 Vehicles and Traffic of the Riverhead Town Code, 101-13, parking time limited, D, 3 hours. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
I think we have it right now.
Yeah, we have it right.
Yes to the public hearing.
Gabrielson.
I particularly don't agree with it for the public hearing, yes.
Wooten.
Ditto. Yes.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 851.
This authorizes the reduction of the site plan security of 1074 Pulaski Street LLC. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 852.
Authorize town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding an alleged unsafe and abandoned structure located at 168 Creek Road, Wading River, also known as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-029-1-30-1. 1, right, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabelson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 853.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post a public notice for a public hearing regarding an alleged unsafe and abandoned structure located at 120 Overlook Drive, Aquabog, also known as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-113-1-1.4. So moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabelson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 854.
Ratifies the appointment of a clerk to the tax receiver's office. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabelson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 855.
Appoints a clerk to the tax receiver's office. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabelson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 856.
Adopts policy regarding salary increases for elected officials. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
I don't see that this policy is sustainable. I think that it's just going to keep raising salaries of elected officials. I think at a time when we have town employees that are making less than the town board or town council members working a full-time job and trying to work a second job and a third job in order to support their families, to do something like this without giving them increases and giving the union employees that aren't to where they should be with the work that they're doing. I think it's terrible. And so I haven't taken a raise for the last 4 years, and I will not take a raise on this. I'm a no, definite no.
Gabrielson.
I was in part of the work session last week when they discussed this, so there's a number of things here that, like there's no cap, runaway inflation, so there's a lot of things here that I don't think are good. So I'm gonna vote no.
Wooten.
I've been looking at this. I tell you, I think that the problem really falls with not so much the talking heads up here, but the ones that are elected, like the highway superintendent and the tax receiver and the town clerk and the people that are elected to those positions that aren't policymakers, and they're pretty much stagnated where they are. And those are jobs that have a set skill, and those are ones that are there for as long as they want to be there, really. I mean, for the most part, because they really should be elected, they should be appointed, but that's not here nor there. But because this is such a broad brush, I mean, I didn't take this job for the salary. I took this job because I love the town. I want to work for the town, and I want to represent the people who live in this town. So it was never about the money for me, and I always told myself that it was about the money that I wouldn't do this anymore. So I can't support this, especially when we just did a tax, pierced the tax cap. The timing is just way off on this, so it's just too broad a brush for me. So I have to vote no.
Dunleavy.
Well, I guess I'm the only one gonna vote yes. I'm looking at the tax receiver, the town clerk, and everybody else that hasn't got a raise. And, I guess I'm the only one that thinks that they should, and we should get a raise, so I vote yes.
Walter.
No.
Resolution is not adopted. Resolution 857.
Extends bid for electric motor repair replacement, including emergency repair for the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 858.
Awards part of water service materials bid for use in the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
That should be
Giglio.
parts, not parts, right?
Yes.
Should be parts,
Part with an S.
with an S.
Okay.
Okay.
Giglio.
No, I think it's part.
Part. No, it's
You think it's part?
It's another way of saying a portion of the bid.
Right. But in
So
order-
it's part of,
Oh, part of
part
the
of
bid.
the overall service materials bids being awarded.
Okay.
Okay.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 859.
859 ratifies authorization for town clerk, Diane Wilhelm, to publish and post notice to bidders for water service materials. So moved.
And seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 860.
Pays bills? So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten. Dunleavy.
Yes.
Yes and yes and yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
We have one.
We got one more.
Off the-
No, we have
Two
three.
off the-
I see
Three.
three.
Okay. So the first one is,
Can I make a motion we pull them off the floor?
yeah, I'm just gonna let you know what they, Bob.
Pull them off the floor first, right?
Well, I wanna make sure you wanna pull them off the floor. In order to get our insurance in order for the beginning of the year, we're gonna be changing our third-party administrator, our TPA. And so they need some time, and normally we would pass this resolution for our insurance after the first of the year, but then the TPA doesn't have any time to get anything ready. The good part is our insurance is going down, I believe, about $6,000 from last year, so that's a good thing for us. So that's why we're moving resolution, that's why I'm asking to move 861 and 862 over, because it sets the insurance. Let's see, the brokerage with Arthur Gallagher, and then the other one changes the TPA. So that one, that's those two. And the maintenance mechanic, Freddie Marsland's been working without, the person we wanted to hire didn't take the job. Freddie Marsland's been working without any help in the senior department. So if we're okay, are we okay moving all three of these together off the floor?
Well, we have to make a motion.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm
Yes,
asking.
I have no problem.
Is the board okay moving them all together, Jody?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move 861, 862, and 863 off the floor together. I'll make the motion. You make the motion?
I'll make a motion, we move 861, 862, and 863 off the floor. So moved.
And I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolutions 861, 862, and 863 are taken off the floor.
Okay, so we move the resolutions forward.
Okay, 861.
Extends contract with Arthur J. Gallagher and Company Risk Management Services for the implementation of the insurance program for 2016. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 862.
Authorize appointment of a third-party administrator processing and payment of general liability claims and workers' compensation claims and related medical claims for 2016. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 863.
This ratifies the appointment of a part-time maintenance mechanic one to the seniors program. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Giglio.
Yes.
Gabrielson.
Yes.
Wooten. Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
All right, now we open it up, the town board meeting, to anybody that wishes to speak on any matter before the town board. We ask you to limit your, before the town, we ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes. Angela DeVito.
Angela Vito, South Jamesport. Just a couple of items. The East Lawn Building sale resolution is subject to permissive referendum, and I notice that Councilwoman Giglio pointed out to the fact that there are some significant repairs that should be made prior to winter months, and that to help further stop the deterioration of the building. When is the permissive referendum going to take place?
It's not,
Has
it's
that been
somebody,
scheduled?
somebody
Has
can
30 days.
file it. It doesn't take
It's not a
place.
mandatory referendum, it's a permissive referendum, meaning that someone.
All right, I understand the
the
permissive, so we can ask for permissive referendum on this then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under procedure.
The other thing is that you also
Have mercy.
just passed a resolution regarding a house on Overlook Drive that's in really bad shape that you're looking to have a public hearing on.
That's an understatement.
Okay. Do you think you could give some consideration to, and I believe it is the Sapienza House on South Jamesport Avenue? That has been in such a state of horrific decay for at least the 16 years that I've lived in South Jamesport.
Is that the Willow? Is that on Willows?
No, it's on South Jamesport Avenue, and it is between Front Street and
the first street.
Second. Yeah, on that.
On the
Bob,
west
just-
side.
It's just another.
Could you just offline give that, the address to Bob?
And the other thing is
That's the
that
owner of record, is that name?
I believe years ago it was. I'm not sure. I haven't checked. I'll check and get you that. I mean, if
It's
you.
on South Jamesport?
It's on South Jamesport Avenue on the west
It's on
side.
the west side, correct?
West side, yeah. There's a
Okay.
big berm in the front,
I
and
believe
half
I
the
know where
building
it
is
is.
collapsed
Okay.
in.
If you could get the address, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and at our roundtable with the town supervisor, two things came up. One was the town appeal for Vinland Commons. Is that in process?
Yes.
Progress right now? And also on Willow Street, you had committed to meeting with the owner for Jamesport Suites
I don't think we've set that meeting up
If
yet.
that can
Probably
be
after January.
set up. The beach there, you really should take a look down and see what they've done to the beach in terms of when they're working on their bulkhead. It's a complete wreck at this point with all the heavy equipment that has been brought in onto the beach down there. Utilization, pumping water from the bay into the property for whatever purposes that was, I'm not sure, but it's just a complete mess. So I just would be interested in as a follow-up for that. And the other thing is that in Newsday this past weekend, there was a little brief article about that the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council has issued its grants. And one of them was for a little bit over $1 million for a processing plant in Calverton, not Quality King Foods, but another one. And I was wondering, is there any information about that that's available that you know about?
I actually met with them. The IDA asked me to meet with them I didn't even remember. Company is a really interesting company. The best way that I could describe it, I met with them probably more than a year ago, is they almost freeze dry food, so it preserves it. I don't want to say indefinitely. I'm not a scientist or biochemist.
It extends its life significantly.
They extend the lifetime significantly of food. And they have a plant up west, I think it's Huntington.
Yeah.
And they've outgrown the facility, and they have their order or demand for their product just far exceeds what they're able to produce. So they're looking to come to EPCAL, and it's a really good.
Okay. No, I just it's just something I noticed, and it just said Calverton. It didn't, and I was thinking, okay, did they buy Calverton Links and going to put it there or something like that?
No, they're going to try to utilize the governor's
incubator.
Startup New York program
Okay.
and use the incubator.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does anybody else wish to be heard? Oh my goodness, Steve, 3 times.
3 strikes, you're out. I stand before you as a conflicted citizen, as a fellow citizen who I don't know from a hole in the wall makes a statement that I'm sitting here going, wow, if it's true, there's a problem. You folks basically say, well, maybe it's not accurate. How does a regular citizen, unless the newspaper or I'm a journalist, finds out what the real truth is?
About what?
About what that gentleman said, that it was 200,000 and you guys are basically blowing them off. That's what it sounded like to
Talk
me.
to you
It's simple.
offline.
What's that?
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay. 2 more comments. One, and I swear it'll be the last time I talk about the IDA, because I know I brought this up a few meetings ago, and John was the staunchest supporter of IDA credits on 58, which blows my mind because it's a commercial strip and it's very valuable. John's point was that sometimes you will support small businessmen on 58, and that would probably be the exception as to why you give a credit on 58. That hotel that I mentioned, about a week after we talked, because I said, all right, that makes sense, a small businessman, maybe they want to do that. I'm thinking of dry cleaners, a gas station, a restaurant, an accounting office, a lawyer's office. I read that he sells a hotel and a property for $37 million. That doesn't fall into the small business category that I'm thinking about. It may be different. Is that Lee Browning is the guy, right?
Can I correct you? He
Yes.
sold 2 restaurants and 3 hotels.
Yes.
So not 1 hotel.
Okay.
He sold what he had up in Ronkonkoma.
So, but what you're saying is that falls into a small businessman's classification?
I'm going to say if you sell, what did you say, 3 hotels and 2 restaurants?
No, it was a hotel, a property, and 2 restaurants.
Yeah, right. And he's built it, yes.
It's hard to say. I'm not as accountant.
And by the way, he got IDA credits in the town of Brookhaven for that parcel. That's, so it sounded like it's something that shouldn't have been given, but we've been over that. It's done and said. Another comment, I read a letter to the News Review, maybe you guys read it too, in regards to the planning board, zoning board, and appointment of people, and it sounded like a little bit of sour grapes to me, because I don't think the people that you appointed are unqualified in any shape or fashion. But food for thought, as Warren and a couple other gentlemen, this is a citizen's government. To continually reappoint people, 5 years should be the limit. Talk about fresh ideas and new people come in. Not only that, then you read when you don't appoint somebody that's been on the board for 15, 20 years, they write a letter that basically sounds like they're entitled to it. And how dare you?
Who wrote a letter? I didn't.
It was last year, somebody on one of the boards, they were here a long time, maybe 15, 20 years, and they didn't get the reappointment. It almost would be good to be the policy, 1 term and then you go. It's a rotating thing, And with hundreds of qualified people in the town, whether they be Republican leaning or Democrat leaning, it almost should be, that should be the policy, but that's neither here or there.
But there's a lot of people who do not put in for these boards that are qualified. If we don't have people who put in for them, we can't appoint them.
I agree with you.
Then maybe you should actually make an effort, because I don't think people will even know when or how to, I mean, it sounds kind of silly that they wouldn't, but what do? Just write a letter to the supervisor saying, I'm interested?
Yes, and send their resume.
There's a gentleman here that's been in
send their
almost every
resume.
meeting for 10 years. I don't even think if he's interested that
Okay.
you should need a resume from him. I'm just thinking about people that come here, but
We
anyway.
advertise the jobs.
But we advertise
We
it,
do periodically we advertise the jobs.
yes.
Hey, guys, have a
Not
Merry
always.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Sorry to break
Thank
your
you.
Merry
chops.
Christmas,
All right,
happy
thank
Hanukkah.
I'm not talking about
Greg Fisher.
Greg Fisher, Calverton. Anything you want to say to him about me, you could say on camera. The concern you had about score records has been corrected, their error. However, in my last 3 written offers through the agent, I made a case for something else. I suggested that the town should keep the building.
I saw the last one.
Because on a cash flow basis, on the revenue that we're paying, on the money that we're paying otherwise for outside rentals at market rates, it's well worth putting in the $375 that the engineers, town engineers, got estimates for the full repair of that building at town costs, which are higher than private costs. But even at that number, if you multiply out the cost of the market rents paid otherwise, it's well worth keeping that building. It has a payback of under 10 years. So in face of future, we don't know how we're going to stay under the tax cap in future years. So in light of causing additional harm to the town and additional cash flow loss, I think you would want to be looking for ways to plug those cash flow holes. So this was a very poorly conceived plan. It really should have been kept. You have 3 offices that are subject to moving right away. The historian has an interim agreement, but will move. CAP and the housing, but it's clearly, even with those 3, it's a great payback to keep it. It's a big mistake. Not to mention the fact of there's a lot of zoning problems with the building, as I pointed out to the planning board, that they didn't, when it was created illegally because there's no setbacks. The town can go in eminent domain the setbacks it needs. You can't even legally put, right now, you can't even legally put a ladder on 2 sides of the building to fix it. It's so close. The property lines were drawn so close. The planning rules in effect at the time of the 1991 transfer mandated 200 square feet have a parking space. It's 3,000 square foot building, required 15 parking spaces. They got an interim agreement for 3 parking spaces that reverts back. Bizarre. So the thing's a complete mess. But on a cash flow basis, it really should be kept. And that's what I really argued for in my last 3 written exchanges with your agents today that everybody should have got because they were written. Huh?
I got it today.
I got it today.
Okay. It's
I
better to
questioned
keep
the
it.
375 though.
Cheaper to keep it.
Thank you.
No.
Does anybody else wish to be heard tonight? Not seeing anybody, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Put a new roof on the church, it wasn't strong.
Yeah, right?
You kidding me? That building is gonna, remember the Brookhaven, the building that collapsed in Brookhaven not too long ago because they dilly-dallied with it? We don't get this building soon, by next year there won't be anything left.
I dilly-dallied on my church.
Because this is the preliminary.